Hello and welcome to round 6 of the Reykjavik Open. We're your hosts for the day, Mr. Zibbit, aka FIDE Master Ingvar Tor Johansson, and myself, Fiancetta.
Fiona.
That will have to do.
Yeah. So round 6, rest day behind us.
Good rest day, very interesting rest day. Yesterday was the European Cup Fisher Random Tournament here at the Harpa, which was dominated by none other than the superstar of the moment, young
Alireza Firouzja.
Absolutely, very dominant performance, 8 out of 9. So he didn't only win the tournament, but he also got the qualifying spot for the tournament later this year, Fisher Random Tournament in Norway.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Big Fisher Random Tournament, maybe even official World Championship, will be held in Norway by Norwegian organizers, and Magnus Carlsen will play, and the top players.
Will be very interesting.
And Alireza.
So
it will be cool.
So that happened yesterday afternoon, and then yesterday evening the annual pub quiz with Ingvar as the quizmaster.
Yeah.
It was tremendous fun. I
had a lot of fun this time.
Some brilliant questions. The atmosphere was great. We have tweeted about it. You have tweeted about it from the official tournament page, the Reykjavik Open on Twitter. I also tweeted about it from my account. Both of us have linked. I had the link open a second ago. Actually, let me.
You can find the link.
Yeah,
in the tweet
and put it in the. I'll put it in the chat right now. And you can try your hand at the pub quiz. Ingvar will be sharing the answers a bit later.
Tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, and you can see how you think you would have done. So that those are the questions. I just put them in the chat there. Once again, if you want to find them later, you can do so either on the tournament Twitter page or on my own Twitter page. As for our tournament, we have 4 leaders. The 2 Armenian grandmasters, Hovhannisyan and Movsesyan, the Romanian grandmaster, Constantin Lupulescu, and of course, man of the moment, Alireza Firouzja.
We didn't have the games live yesterday, but I did record the game between Andrew and Firouzja, which was very interesting. I hope I can
upload it
and have it up tonight, because it was a big battle. I'm not gonna, reveal the score.
Very interesting. One of the most thrilling games I've had the chance to watch live in a while.
So let's go to board 1.
Let's go to board 1. Also, by the way, Alexandra Botas beat a much higher rated opponent in round 5 2 days ago. For all you Alexandra fans, she is on a live board today. She's actually, funnily enough, sitting next to Aman Hambleton. So we will go to Alexandra's game shortly.
Aman looked a bit tired.
Yes.
Perhaps.
Yes, I think Aman was having a night out. I just collapsed after the pub quiz. I had a few drinks in here at the pub quiz, and went back to my room and just completely collapsed.
I went with the French guys to spin the wheel. They won 8 beers.
I saw that on Instagram as well. Where did you go?
American bar.
Okay, very nice.
So I had 1 or 2, and then I had hlölli. Very important to have a hlölli before you go home.
What's that?
And then it's a sup.
Okay. Okay, so anyway, all of us had a good night. Let's go to board 1. Hovhannisyan against Firouzja.
Yeah, so I've set up already the opening moves, and we have a Najdorf. Interesting stuff, of course, and something we should expect from Alireza. He wants to play sharp chess. He wants to win basically every game.
Not shying away from complications.
So knight f3, of course knight b3 is more common. Bishop e7, bishop d5, bishop to e6, and Robert took on f6. So the long-term idea.
Can you maybe turn your computer? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So the long-term idea, if you take on f6, is of course you're removing a defender of the d5 square. So white wants to play for control of this square, and hopefully for him that he can maybe target this pawn later. But black has the bishop pair, and it's going to be dynamic probably, and hopefully. So knight to d5, occupying the square immediately. Black, of course, doesn't want to take because he will be left with weaknesses on the light squares, so he gets the bishop out, bishop c4, Rook c8, hitting the bishop, protecting it, knight b6, and now we have a trade. Queen takes, bishop back to b3, queen to c6. Yeah, I was going to say the question here is, can black play d5? And I don't have to answer it because he did. I'm just wondering why white played. Yeah, of course. So black was threatening now to take, and either you have to take with a c pawn, which is probably
ideal,
or a takes and you lose the pawn. So that's why I played c3, but this gives black the opportunity to play d5. And now we have some forced trades. Rook ft1, queen back to c6, rook to d2. And let's quickly just get up to date. b3, protecting a2 with the rook. Queen over to f4, g3, c4 and h5.
We had a couple more moves here. White retreated the knight to e1.
Aha, okay.
So he wants to bring it, I guess, to
g2,
e3.
e3, and then occupy this this square at some stage. And Alireza played
h4 and knight g2. So
yeah, it's one of the ideas, of course, with h5 to soften up the king side with h4, knight g2.
I have to say I really like the white position.
It looks like
double rooks on the d file. The knight is gonna get a very nice outpost on d5. I wonder actually if white can play bishop g. If black can play bishop g5.
Yeah, probably he should.
That.
That's why I think he should now play queen somewhere. Like, well, I'm not sure where. Maybe queen e6 or queen g6. So that you can meet
knight e3 with bishop g5.
Exactly, and you eliminate the knight because it's pinned to the rook. Yeah, white probably will be very nicely placed if he gets the knight to d5, like you said. The time situation, maybe?
The time situation is half an hour for white and 45 minutes for black.
Left, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, left.
Okay,
so nothing too dramatic.
No. Slight touch for
Alireza. But I think very high drawing chances in this one.
I agree.
I think if the knight could land on d5, I would really like white, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. And I think if the bishop and the knight are swapped in the ending, well, there's still be queens on the board, but still very high drawing chances. Speaking of, we already had a draw in the all-Dutch clash on board 4 between Erwin Lamy and Jordan van Verrees. Maybe later, if we have some time, we can check how that ended, but for now, let's
I have a feeling not much happened there.
Yeah. I don't think it was an amicable draw, because I talked to Jordan yesterday and he said he had a big game today. He actually barely, in the start, he didn't want to come to the pub quiz to prepare. So I don't think it was a friendly draw, but nevertheless, ending peacefully. So let's move on to board 2, Lupulescu against Movsesian. Once again, only on the top 2 boards do we have our 4 leaders on 4.5 out of 5.
So these are sort of the main events of the round. And we have another Sicilian on board 2, Lupulescu with white, Movsesian black. But this time, it seems to me, well, he doesn't play queen c7. Queen c7 would be the time on-off. It could still be a time on-off if white plays something other than what he did. Knight takes c6, but he did. He took on c6, bishop d3, d5. I think this is similar to what was played, for instance, in Caruana against Topalov, in the famous tournament where Caruana started 7 out of 7.
St. Louis, do you know from the top of your head which year?
I think it was 2014.
Yeah, I would have guessed that too.
Bishop h6, knight to e8, bishop back to f4. Again, I have a feeling that both sides want to fight, but let's see what happened. Yeah, Lupulescu strikes me as sort of a positional player. But here, yeah, he's going for a rook lift, rook to h3, so going for the h7 pawn, f5, and now we have to take with a knight to protect the pawn, queen h4, h6, and rook e1. Now, ideally, white would like to blockade this square and control this one as well, so black doesn't allow that to place e5 himself. So no blockade, but the bishop gets to g6 and e4.
And actually we have one more move here. White replied with f3.
Yeah, that makes sense, trying to undermine the pawn. And don't we have a lot of pressure on the pawn right now?
So, Ingvar, the eternal question, who is better and why?
And why? Well, the question is if black can play d4. Must be. And is he going to sack the exchange?
e4,
or?
can I just take on e4?
Yeah, the knight is pinned, of course. So this doesn't work. So there we have our answer. We can't play d4. But then it looks like we have some problems with this pawn.
Yeah, actually, once I asked you who is better and why, I looked at it for a second. Actually, I thought, yeah, white is actually clearly better. How are you going to deal with this pawn?
That's a good question. Good question. And well, we have 5 attackers on the pawn against only 3. So adding one.
And one of whom is pinned.
Yeah, and adding one with c5 doesn't seem to work then.
So
because
take. I mean, we can still.
The pin probably still works, right?
Yes.
If we take like this,
yes.
Bishop takes and rook takes.
Yeah.
This would win a pawn and would be, well, catastrophic for black.
But I think the more I look at the position, I think there's just no defending this pawn. This pawn is gonna drop, and it's a very important pawn.
Yes. So one wonders if. How long did you think before e5? Not that long, actually.
Before
Only about 3 minutes.
playing
Okay.
e5, yeah.
What's the time?
Time situation is almost similar. 38 minutes for white, 34 for black. But potentially Lupulescu, who's second seed. My early prediction is that Lupulescu will be our sole leader tonight.
Okay.
And he's not someone I had on the cards, on my radar in the first round when we were discussing potential favorites. But he's, of course, very experienced grandmaster, been around a long time.
Yeah, he was the 6th seed before the tournament.
But okay, let's not.
No, but he's very strong.
Let's not hatch. No. Sell this chicken before they hatched. Something like that. Let's not sell the wolf skin before we killed it. No, that's not a saying. Help me out in the chat.
I resign.
Something like that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
But there's a saying.
Keep it simple.
There's a saying, and I'm sure someone in the chat will help me out. Anyway, let's move on to board 3.
Yeah. I'm confused because it seems like he just has to sack a pawn here.
Yeah, but even then, it's
but
no
how?
easy.
Like pawn takes d4, still
Exactly.
it's not looking good. So maybe he's just in trouble here.
Thank you, Bon Cloud. Let's not count the chicken before they hatched. That's the one I was looking for.
Bound Cloud, that's one of the
One of the potential answers. One of the answers I got wrong. I was very tilted. I should know my online troll openings culture.
Yeah, exactly. Lagarde, the wrong Maxime, as we call him.
Absolutely. This is a game I'm very much looking forward to because both Maxime and Gawain are very aggressive, very active players. So I think it's a board where there's likely to be some blood.
Yes, and there is blood, I was told.
Okay.
Well, funny story about Maxime. He told me yesterday that even in France he's mistaken for Maxime Lagrave, Maxime Vasile Lagrave. So in France they actually call him the wrong Maxime because she has the first name and
funny.
the similarity in the last names is.
And also Vebjorn is saying, sell the bears, let's not sell the bear skin before it has been shot, is a Norwegian saying at least. Yeah, I don't know about English, but it's also where I'm from my neck of the woods in German, Luxembourgish, and also French, it's a saying, so I suppose it must be a saying in English.
Okay, but okay.
Thank you, chat, for helping me out. Okay, so let's go to this one. Fuxi also...
Yeah, we had Ari Lopez We had this line once earlier in the tournament. It's the Arkangelsk with bishop to c5. And it can get really theoretical and really sharp. Oh, it was the Ali Reza game. White went a5. It was against Kavlisvili, where Ali Reza won fairly comfortably. Robbie Kavlisvili. A5, yeah. Probably this is following that game. Bishop a7, h3. Castles. Yeah, this is following the same game. And we talked about, when we looked at that of course we can't take because of the double attack. So the same thing, of course, applies here. But Gawain played rook a8, which I don't think is the move that Ali Reza played. Knight b to d2, h6, rook to e1, rook e8. And I was told that Gawain had sacrificed a piece, so I'm waiting for that moment. Knight b4. Seems like the stock square for the knight in this line. Rook a3, and this piece configuration also happened in the Ali Reza game. c5, takes, and it was actually Lagarde who sacrificed the piece. He took on f7. Probably the most classical sacrifice in chess to take on f7. But what's the continuation here? King takes, e5. And what's the big deal if we just move the knight?
Okay, so let's have a look where do we
maybe
want to put it. Knight d5.
Let's say knight d5 is something like queen h7 a problem, or actually, when this move arrives, we're threatening knight d6, and in some lines
potentially knight g5, even in some
potentially this guy is lurking and coming across the third row. So I kind of want to get the queen first in and then knight e4, but queen e4, rook h8, I don't really see a big point.
Actually, funnily enough, after bishop b7, which was played in the move, Fuchsia was saying in the chat...
He didn't even take.
Yeah, and Fuchsia is saying that he played a bishop g5 here instead of bishop takes h6, which looks like a mouse slip. Because apparently bishop takes h6 was the best move in this position.
Really?
I mean, it's true that bishop g5 looks like a very funny move.
Yeah, point is probably that... Well, I don't know. We're at least giving a check, but...
No.
Yeah, maybe we have knight g5 here.
And then rook f3.
No, the bishop covers. The bishop covers.
We're giving up a lot of pieces here.
Yeah, the bishop was covering this square, so I couldn't play rook f3.
Mr. Zaban is saying, hello Ingvar, the quiz is super hard. I bet nobody had all 30 correct. Absolutely, the winning score was 25.5 out of 30. For those of you asking what quiz, I'll put the link in the chat one more time. This will take you to the questions from the pub quiz last night, which was a lot of fun. I scored personally, my team with Alex, we scored 17.5. Which is not great, but it's the same score as Niels, so I was happy with that. Former winner Niels.
Yeah, there was one funny question where we asked about a game in the World Championship match, and I was like, Niels, you should know this one. No, I was asleep because he was helping Magnus, and the way
he was joking. Like, I mean, he wasn't joking. He was asleep, of course, when it was played. But of course, he was familiar with what the winning move was, and he had given 2 lectures on this game, and he got the move wrong. So that was very funny.
Yeah, but usually it works that when the players are sleeping in the World Championship match, the assistants are working on openings.
My team got 2 questions embarrassingly wrong. The one about the chess.com user, who is this famous athlete. Because in hindsight, like Alex and I immediately agreed on John Urschel, but in hindsight, I realized I know that John Urschel's username is just John Urschel. And Alex had actually watched the podcast. And after watching the podcast, he had looked up the username, and still we got it wrong. And obviously the E3 or E4 King E2, E3 King E2.
Yeah, E4, E5 King E2.
We should really know that.
I'm fairly sure that the chat knows what.
Yeah.
What? 1 e4, e5. But yeah, okay, so bishop h6 was potentially a good move, but bishop g5 was played. Takes, knight takes, king g8, and current position knight d to f3 and knight b to d5. So white is currently down 2 pieces. He didn't take on f6, probably because can I take here, queen no, and queen covers this, okay. But still, you're now down a piece and maybe you don't have enough compensation. So he decided to move the knight here, knight d to f3 and knight b to d5. And this is to recapture with a knight, stopping queen h7 check.
In this game, the time situation is already getting critical, by the way. Only 14 minutes left on the clock for Maxime Lagarde for 17 moves, and it could be that he's just lost.
Yeah, 2 pieces is a lot, and even if you take on f6, it's still almost a full piece. Only 1 pawn for it. And I don't really see any huge danger. It's only h7 that you need to be worried about, and at the moment we have it covered. So perhaps, yeah, can't really cash out the jack that he wrote.
Yep. I'm sorry, I'm a bit quiet. I'm just busy adding a Reykjavik Open quiz command.
No noise. But I'm thinking we should maybe have a look at some other games.
Yep.
Does the chat want us to go to Alexandra's game, or?
Yeah, let's do that. I think the chat is a bit more quiet than usual because it's earlier, much earlier in the day than it used to be.
Rook Crusher is asking how is that Firouzja doing? Well, remains to be seen, but we had a quick look and probably it's around equal, and he might be slightly worse. We're going to go to board, where is it? Here's Aman, and here's Alexandra. Marcel Kanarek against Alexandra Botes. And this is board number?
This is board number 24.
Board number 24. So Kanarek with white, and he plays the, well, bishop f4 is a London, but knight c3 is more like a Veresov attack. But after bishop g4, bishop d7, he goes e4. Then we sort of transpose to a perch defense. Queen d2, c6, queen to a5. White is getting his pieces out here pretty quickly. Knight d5. Kanarek takes. Queen takes, knight takes. C takes d5. E takes d6. Bishop takes d4. So a lot of exchanges. And after white takes on e7. It seems that white will emerge with the better pawn structure. We will have an isolated pawn. d5, we can't really take on b2 because white will always play rook b1 and then take on b7. So here h3 was played, bishop retreated, c3. So I have a feeling that white is statically better a little bit because of the isolated pawn, but it's not horrible for black. And if you manage to play d4, of course, at some point, then you get rid of your problem and should be very close to equal. But bishop e5 is aimed against that idea, because now if you play d4, we take on c6 and then take the pawn. a6 was played, bishop a4, and b5. Okay, if the bishop goes way back, then we play d4, but the bishop here, now if you play d4, he takes on e6. So Alexandra plays rook a to d8 first, bishop d5. Trades.
It's the kind of position that you really don't want to be playing against a much higher weighted opponent.
Yeah.
I mean, in some very a few cases you can hold on, but most of the time you're just gonna suffer.
It seems like black will just suffer, and this is exactly what the higher rated opponent wants against a lower rated opponent, just to win on technique. I imagine a move like knight d4, and if you take, and you don't want to end up like super passive like this. All the moves are easy for white. You play f3, bring the king, expand on the king side. At some stage maybe play a4 and try to undermine this pawn at some point with c4. Maybe, you know, create some space on the king side. So this will be a very difficult defensive task, but not impossible. And perhaps we'll check in with Alexandra later and see how she's doing.
Shall we go to her countryman, another fan favorite, Mr. Hambleton?
Board 23? Five, okay.
He's playing behind Alexandra.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I knew there was one board between.
Yeah.
So on board 25 we have...
A man who, by the way, we didn't mention this, but 2 days ago when we ended the show here, he was playing against Erwin.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Very painful.
Painful game. He was pressing the whole time. Yeah. And I was even talking to him about it because, you know, just before he was reaching the time control, he was just, you know, repeating moves. Okay, I'll just reach the time control and I'll beat you later. You know, he had the game fully under control.
Actually, did you see the game? Like at some point, Erwin was playing king f7, king f6, king e7 for like maybe 10, 15 moves.
Yeah, that's when Aman was just showing who's the boss. This is my position. I'll do what I want. But then it spiraled out of control and
tough,
didn't work out.
Tough defeat.
So Björn Holm Birkesson, he is a member of my chess club, the Reykjavik Chess Club. He's a twin, the lower rated of the two. I don't know how that feels to have identical genes, and but you know, somebody's got to do it. And we have the English opening with b6, and yeah, white takes with a pawn. If you take with a knight, black would just set up a nice hedgehog position, but he takes with a pawn here. d6. I've seen Aman play, you know, similar stuff with b6 in his online games. So a flexible system. It's sort of like a hedgehog, where you place all your pawns here on the 6th rank, and it's very, very flexible, and it's called the hedgehog because it's very compact, like a hedgehog, and the pawns will sting if you come too close. But he hasn't played a6, and maybe doesn't need to just yet, so he keeps the pawn here for the time being. Bishop f8. And this is played usually to play bishop to g7 to fianchetto here, and sometimes also to break with e5, but at the moment not looking likely, especially with f4 being played. So knight c to e4, g6.
Yeah, this is the typical position that with white, I mean, in my experience, very often I've had this sort of position and I feel like, oh, I've got the space, I've got the center, and then a few inaccurate moves and they just bounce and you don't know what you've done wrong, but suddenly you're worse.
Because white does have the space, but still it's not easy to find a plan. And every time you choose a pawn to move forward, you will be leaving some weaknesses and some targets. So,
by the way, in the chat, Hedgehog 1963 is saying, I approve of this position. Black is like a coiled spring in these positions.
Yeah, that's what they say usually about the hedgehog. So d5 now. Okay, of course, we can't take this because of the pin here, with the rook lined up against the queen. No can do. So bishop to d3. And now I'm not sure. I think actually I'm starting to like black a bit more here. I'm not sure about this f4 move, because what do they say about pawns? Well, number one, push them, baby, but if you push them,
they cannot go back.
Cannot go back. Bishop takes f3 now, and oh, nice tactic utilizing the pin here on the d pawn.
Queen e1, and we've had a few more moves here actually.
Yeah, Queen e3.
Queen e3, sorry. Now
attacking the
Knight
pawn.
b3 was
Oh,
played.
you did play that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, of course, attacking d4.
So rook ad1, bishop takes d4,
Yeah.
bishop takes, queen takes, queen takes, knight takes.
Yeah, already looking like a technical win for black.
And we have Sasha Barulevic in the chat with us saying f4 was wrong. The right plan here should be Petrosian's plan, a5, bishop c3. So
For white,
a4,
a4.
a5,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, something like this. It just seems that f4 just leaves. I mean,
Too many vulnerable
weaken
squares.
this diagonal, you weaken this square. I don't like the move.
Oh, we have Mr. Jerry Graham, aka Captain Bonretti, in the chat with us. Big shout out to Jerry. Also, shout out to everyone in Bonretti. If you're looking for a fun weekender to play, you've never played Bonretti, or have you?
I played it.
Yeah, you have played it.
2008.
Absolutely. So, Ingvar, more than 10 years ago. It's time to come
Yeah,
back.
it's time to come back.
Ingvar.
I know. I wanted to come.
And
Yeah,
he's
sure.
asking, how's Gawain doing? Gawain, we just came from his game. He's doing very well, probably on the verge of winning already.
Yeah,
which
I
would
mean,
be a big win. I mean,
unless
with the
like
black
I
pieces on board
find
3.
something immediately, then it's just down
Yeah.
too much material.
So, also looking good for Aman. Where do we go next? Should we go to board 5? Board 5, my teammate David Eggleston, who after losing his round 1 game against a much lower weighted opponent, has made a massive comeback, winning 4 games in a row, the last of which against GM Kanarek. So let's see how Eggy is
Yeah,
getting
Aki
on
with white, and
against Ariantari.
he doesn't like this, positional d3 crap. He just plays a proper Italian
Yeah.
with d4.
Eggy, who is one of the, he's always very, very well prepared. It's one of the things I can say from playing
Oh
with
yeah,
him.
this is. I think this line is supposed to be quite okay for black, but it still contains some venom, I believe. So white takes on e4, but here we have a fourth sequence. Bishop takes f7. Once again, the classical sacrifice, but of course only a temporary one, because we win the knight on b4. Rook f8, castling by hand. The king will eventually go back to g8. And it does so now. So now it's a battle of, a knight against bishop. Rook a to e1, bishop to f5.
Good knight,
Knight
or
to e5,
I mean, the knight on e5, it's an outpost that you're gonna struggle to ever get rid of the knight. So
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
a nice outpost. The rooks can potentially swing over. I kind of like white here, I have to say.
Yeah, you can easily shut down the bishop with f3 if you need to, if he goes bishop e4. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not without venom, and white is playing sort of a black square strategy. The pawns are going on dark squares, trying to stabilize and utilize the knight on e5.
And by the way, Jerry is saying it's time not just for you to come back, but for a whole group from Iceland. And he said your group from 2008 was great fun.
Yeah, is it Jerry?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they must have the picture of us hanging somewhere.
I have seen some now. After asking you whether you had played, I remembered. I'd actually seen the photos.
So Aki is putting some pressure on.
Eki is
on
putting
Arian.
some serious pressure on. So black now played rook c to c6. And my dear Ingvar,
Can I take
my
on d5?
engine
And why
has
not?
just, my engine bar
Yeah.
has just jumped. Mr. Eggy has a winning blow here. It's
mean,
not an actual blow, but
Why not? Knight takes d5. Bishop takes d5. Oh, okay. And the queen is attacked. I thought it was pinned, but it's like a double pin. Maybe you also have a move such as knight h5.
Yes, that's the one.
Well,
I mean, it's not so obscure, so I think Eggy has a very good chance of finding knight h5, and apparently there's just no...
yeah, we're coming to f6 next.
Yeah. The rook can probably come to e3, I don't even know exactly.
Yeah, it's tricky. And it shows, these lines maybe aren't considered the best for white, but if
so
you're not
knight
prepared for
f6
them,
is a massive threat. I
Yeah.
didn't realize. And there's just no stopping that, actually. Or is there?
is it just game over? Maybe.
I think so.
Wow, that would be a huge upset by Eggy.
Massive upset.
But that's like classic Eggy. He can
I mean,
beat
Eggy.
everybody.
Yeah, because also Eggy, I was gonna say, oh, that would put him in a position for a GM norm, but I think he actually has his 3 GM norms.
I think he has a bunch of GM norms.
Huh?
I think he has a bunch of them.
I
3
think
or
he
4.
has 3. Yeah.
Yeah, 3. Yeah.
So all Eggy needs to do, well, it's a long way, of course, but he needs to get 2,500. He is now 2,400 player. So, but still a good result here would, but definitely be very motivating for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, knight f6 just looks dead. I'm trying to find a way to do anything, like bishop f7, maiden 1.
He's been thinking at this point in time for 4 minutes, but I'd be very surprised if he didn't play knight h5. It looks like a very obvious.
Oh, he hasn't played it. Or?
He hasn't played it yet.
Oh, okay.
No.
No, but
It's very.
yeah, it's a fairly obvious move.
Yeah, you're freeing the files for
he
the
played.
rooks.
He played this, knight d3, hitting the rook, then to f4, hitting the
Yeah.
bishop, and then he should find this.
Yes. I think we should move on. I will keep an eye on this one. I'm also keeping an eye on the Gawain game because I think it's very likely it will end quite soon.
Should we?
And someone, just before we move on, Thorn2 is saying, is king h8 an idea here?
Ah, okay, just
Leave the pin.
unpinning-ish.
I'm of course wondering, can I play knight f6
Yeah, of
anyway?
Let's just check.
And I was thinking maybe just rook takes. My idea is that if you play a move like bishop d7, I know then the queen is hanging. But I was thinking just
okay, but we
queen
could
h6.
we could play this earlier because the queen was hanging, but now we have the rook on f6,
Yeah.
so it doesn't work. But then,
But it's even made. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't even need to take the queen. I can take on h6 and after... but maybe king j. So let's just... What I was trying to say is that after bishop d7...
no, but black is struggling to find a move.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Like bishop f5, queen f6, yeah. That's one idea. I don't see anything. Also, maybe we can
Rook e3.
maybe just play rook
same
e3
thing.
and just double.
Yeah, or
That's
even
another
knight.
idea.
Yeah. But that's maybe why he's thinking, because what if in the current position, what if we go instead of knight
yeah, in this
h5, what
position,
if we go
just go rook e3 here?
e3? Oh, we're missing something here. Because we're hitting the bishop 4 times. What are we missing here?
Ah, of course. Simple chess. Yeah, that's why he's thinking.
Is there any bishop f7, something like that?
No, I think we just lose the piece, right?
But it's defended.
No, yeah, it's defended, of course. I thought we were... No. I thought, yeah, queen takes c6 was, of course, what I wanted to do.
And if I take on e3?
I can give you a Czechoslovakia.
And
And
that's
yeah,
game
that's
over,
it, yeah. And of course, if you take, I take on e7 and off the rook. So, what does black actually... Is that better anyway?
It's probably, that's why Aggie has been thinking
Yeah.
for so long. He has too many good options. Too many good options, but I think he's going to win this game and it will be a massive result. Potentially, he could be even one of the co-leaders tonight.
Yeah. Okay, so he has two very,
Yeah.
very tempting moves here.
Meanwhile, let's go back to
Yeah.
board 1 because
Board
they
number
have
1.
swapped the knight and bishop off. I'll just give you the moves that we missed. So
Sure.
after knight g2, black took on g3. H takes, and then bishop g5, the move we
As
discussed.
expected.
Knight e3, bishop takes, and now we get to this. sort of heavy piece ending. Black played rook e6, rook d5, rook e8, rook c e8, queen d3, and queen g4 is the position on the board.
Yeah, it should be very close to being drawish. White does have this control over the d file, but it's hard to make much of it, I think, and White also needs to, keep an eye on ideas of any checkmate ideas on the h file. So this looks actually
very equal.
Yeah, like it should be hard to make anything happen with either side, but yeah, I'm not even sure the engine prefers White, to be honest. Probably it does, but
I mean, I would probably take Black.
Yeah.
I prefer having attacking chances than having
the king is a little bit weaker because of g3, but yeah, it's not much.
The endgame magician in the chat is saying trade a rook and queen. I don't know if he's talking about this game though.
Yeah, probably, but
probably yes. He's saying rook d8 with the idea rook takes, queen takes, king h7, queen h4, queen takes, and you use 3 versus 2 on the queen side.
Yeah, but it's not that simple. We just protect here with the rook, and now you have a weakness as well.
Yeah.
And it is a majority, but it's a long way away, and these pawns are also good. And I'd probably even prefer Black here, because the h4 pawn is the only real weakness here, which can easily be attacked.
Okay, so let's come back to this one a bit later. I am keeping an eye on the Lagarde game. I will also try to keep an eye on the Lupulescu game, but let's continue down now, top 10. Or shall we check back in? Let's check back in actually with board 2, Lupulescu and Movsesian.
Which we left after f3, and we struggled to understand what
Black was gonna do. So Black did give up the pawn, didn't have a choice. Played bishop c8. Now White played, he took on e4, queen a7.
Pinning the rook, but okay.
h3.
So the threat was knight g4. Also you can't take because knight takes, so h3.
Now Black put the bishop on e6. White removed the king from the pin, king h1, d4, rook f3, knight h7, bishop f5, bishop takes, rook takes, knight g5, and knight b2 has just been played.
Yeah, you reroute the knight was on the rim, and bring it closer either to c4 or d3. Much better square, where it has some influence. And
so White a pawn up and a protected passed pawn.
Yeah, this looks very nice for White. Also, the black pawns are a little bit scattered and weak. Black doesn't have a pawn break, not much of a counterplay, so looks like things just went really wrong for Movsesian in this one.
Somewhere in the middle game probably. And I have very little doubt that Lupulescu will fail to convert this one. I also, if I had to put my money, I would put it on a draw on board 1, so I still think Lupulescu will most likely be our sole leader here tonight. So let's now continue with our tour. Let's go to board 6.
Yeah, somebody saying board 1 draw. Is the prediction,
let's quickly
or is it
go.
Something that has happened?
It has happened. Let's quickly go to the camera, see if the
players. The camera on board 1, see if they're still there.
So board 1 has just finished in a draw. I guess they must still be there because we literally just came from there 1 second ago. Maybe we'll be in time to see the players leave or analyze. We'll see. So yeah, a draw on board 1, meaning that if Lupulescu can win, I think I'm lagging behind, so I'm not completely sure what you guys are seeing. That is the board 4 we saw there a second ago, but I don't know if my camera is up to date. I think I'm lagging behind something like. But this is board 4, and board 1 there we see the players. And just exchanging score sheets. Probably a good result for both players. I don't think either of them will be too disappointed.
No, I mean, Alireza had black.
Fighting game.
His opponent is 26-30. And not like it was boring Petrov in a way or something.
And actually, let's just see very quickly how the game concluded. If there were even
I don't think there was another move. Just Queen G4 was the last move.
Queen G4 was the last move indeed. Okay, so let's go now to board 6, where our two friends I'm just seeing are playing each other, Bragi Torfinnsson and Niels Guendelius.
Not for the first time. Maybe not for the last time either.
And by the way, Mr. Eggleston, David Eggleston, has just played knight h5. So kudos to Aggie, who was probably going to beat Arian Tari very shortly. So here we go, Bragi Torfinnsson against Niels Guendelius. I think let's just go to the current position.
Yeah. Bragi did play e4, which he doesn't do as much, and he just played a quiet system, so we'll just go through the moves like really quickly, setting up for sort of like a closed Sicilian in a way, but some small nuances. And he goes d4, bishop f5. So black has the bishop here, but white does have these nice pawns, but okay, he's giving up the pawn on b2. What's going on here? Why did he do that? Maybe it was hard to defend.
It's very hard to defend. I mean, you can't play rook b1 because...
Kind of don't want to play.
Rook,
Such an ugly move. So let's see if Bragi has some compensation. Could have taken on... No, if you take on b5, then a2 will hang, so... Let's see, e5, bishop takes d2, rook takes... This just looks like a pawn up for very little compensation.
I don't know if there's any compensation at all. I actually quite like the black position. I'm gonna push my pawns at some point.
Yeah, I mean, okay, it's not for free. No, I mean, I have some chances, but for a player of Niels' caliber, I feel like he should be able to, figure things out and not be troubled by some bluffs. So I'm not very optimistic for Bragi here, who is having a very good tournament so far.
He's unbeaten or?
I think he.
I know he lost to Gawain Jones in round 5.
Yes, he lost to Gawain.
So he's playing the top seed and the second seed back to back.
And he mentioned to me that he has played both Gawain and Niels on a number of occasions, both in the Reykjavik Open and the Icelandic League.
But looking good here for Niels, who suffered a painful defeat 2 days ago against Hovhannissian.
Yes, so trying to claw his way back up the leaderboard, and maybe he can take advantage of the draw on the first board too. That's a little closer. Yeah.
Before we continue our little tour, let's go back actually to board 3, Maxime Lagarde and Gawain Jones, and just catch up on what's been happening there. So we left it off...
23rd move, knight b to d5.
Yeah, not so much has happened. So right now played rook a e3.
Rook
it's
a
a
e3.
very confusing game, this one.
Yeah,
keeps giving up pieces, which Gawain took.
He took, okay. E takes f6 then, probably?
No, rook takes e3. And rook takes e5, so Gawain is just taking everything. A nice little tactic. Let me figure it out.
What?
I don't know. I don't understand.
No, if you move the knight, then of course queen h7. That's the whole point of white's attack. So is it that threatening that you have to take on e5?
Well, the thing is, wait. Before this move, let's go back. After rook takes e3, black was down 1 piece and a rook. So I guess he decided he's so much.
Of course. He took on e3. He swapped a piece and a rook. So it gives up a rook for a pawn,
Knight
How did he
takes.
take? Knight takes. So he's still up a piece. Okay,
Yeah.
of course.
And now queen d5, and now he gets some counter chances on of his own.
Mm-hmm.
Knight ef3, of course, black was threatening to mate on g2. c4 and rook e6.
Yeah.
And black, despite having given up a whole rook for a pawn, black is still a piece up for 2 pawns.
And
he has a monster bishop pair.
Maybe even on the attack himself. So, okay, white
The
does
threat must be rook takes f6.
have an idea of taking
so
here.
we need to do something about that.
But it's not a huge threat though, right? If we just play like this and you take, we're not getting mated. That's my feeling at least. Queen, well, no. Have to be careful actually. Queen g8, knight, knight h7. That's a problem, and I can't defend the queen. Okay, so I have to be a little bit careful. So we do have a threat at least. Okay, but maybe rook f8 is not a good move. Rook e8.
I was just sorry, I zoned out for a second. I was following the chat. People were discussing the the drawn board 1 between Hovhannissian and Firouzja.
Yeah.
Chess doctors, by the way, shout out to chess doctors watching us on the way from South Africa.
South Africa, yeah.
He was saying, you know, all the players had a free day yesterday, so write a quick draw. And then someone else said it wasn't a free day at all. There was a Fischer random, and after the Fischer random, Ali Reza played on chess.com as well in the evening. And the Green Apple is saying that apparently Ali Reza will stream with Andrew Tang tonight.
Oh.
Which is the first I've heard of this, but if that happens, that'd be really cool. I think tonight is some Arena Kings final or something.
Oh, okay. But that means that neither of them will play in the Blitz. So
yeah.
if you're a strong player, then
make your way there.
Yeah, tremendously increases your chances of winning the Blitz tournament.
Absolutely. Okay, so yeah, Gawain's still well on his way.
Yeah, I think it just needs to find a move here. The threat of rook takes f6.
Actually, he has played a move already.
Queen d3, yeah, why not? Just blocking the diagonal. Very good solution. A drunken diagonal, but. And he played queen e1. And again, it just looks like a little too much. White's idea though is to play here and maybe queen e6, but.
It feels like a couple of precise moves should be enough.
Yeah, that's my feeling as well. And he has plenty of time.
Can we please go back to the Eggy game? Because, as I said, he did find knight h5, board 5. And I think that's about to be over.
Eggy.
What an impressive game by Eggy. Eggy was in high spirits last night. He's a big Newcastle fan. He briefly joined us at the pub quiz. Delighted that Newcastle had beaten Leicester and was now safe from relegation.
Ah, okay. That's nice.
So he did find knight h5, which we looked at just a bit earlier. Now black played king h8, the move which had been suggested by the chat, probably the only move. But knight f6, indeed, still.
Okay.
That knight was
taken. Forced.
Queen takes h6, queen h7, and queen takes f6 is on the board.
Okay.
The only move is queen g7, because after king g8 it is checkmate.
So queen g7.
Actually, even mate in 1.
Yeah.
After king g8.
Yeah. Queen f8 mate. Yeah. You're right.
But okay, I mean rook g3 would also lead to mate. So yeah, queen g7 will be played, and then how do we finish things off? Okay, queen g7 is on the board. There's actually only one winning move here, but it's crushing.
Crashing move. Let's see, queen h4. d4, if king g8, rook g3, if queen
Eggy has
h7.
already played the winning move, ruining our fun, but still, let's have you find the move. I haven't yet even figured it out myself. But I guess we'll see it now.
The move I'd like to play, well, first impression, I'm trying to make queen h4 work.
Yeah, it's the right move. So let's look at it and let's make it work. Also suggested by Schildkröte in the chat.
Yeah.
It is a move that Eggy has played
So
anyway.
king here, rook here. So you have to go queen h7.
So queen h7 is on the board.
And I was thinking queen, no. Yeah, maybe queen at d4. Maybe that doesn't do
And
much.
after queen g7.
I want to play rook f8, but then bishop g8 maybe. And
Yeah. No, there's an immediate blow, and Eggy once again has played it already.
oh, hang on a minute. I might know. Thought I was getting an idea, but
Yeah, Schildkröte has put it in the chat, so let's see it. Rook f8,
okay.
bishop g8.
And then queen d4, or
No, then we take on g8. We win in absolute crushing fashion.
oh, I should take with the king.
Yeah. And I think after rook e8, it's
It's gonna be
pretty
mate.
much mate. And the game is over. Arian Tari resigned after
Yeah. Of course.
rook
Hello.
g8. Absolute crushing game by Eggy. A massive
Rook
shout
e7
out
comes.
to Eggy,
No matter what it
Eggy.
does. Wow.
Who, if Lupulescu doesn't win today, Eggy will be one of the joint leaders. I mean, even if he isn't, what a fantastic performance and what a comeback from Eggy.
Do you want to get Eggy or?
Yeah, we could potentially get Eggy.
Okay, you want to
Do you
check
want
it
me
out?
to? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if he's still there.
And I'll have a look at. Okay. So, which board should we go to? I'm wondering if there's some games. I actually want to go to board number 10 and look at my friend Björn Torfensson, who's playing against the former European champion Vladimir Potkin. And we have the game up now. And I'm just going to go to the current position. It was an English opening, probably nothing too critical. And now we have this position, and once again, in very similar fashion to the game Potkin against Sigurbjörn. And I'm sure Luka Barellaro, Sasa Barilovic will have the same opinion, that Potkin just wants to play technically, not allow tactics. And this reminds me immediately of that game. He's just has a very solid structure and seems like he's pressing fairly easily on this weakness. At some stage we can double the rooks. We can double the rooks on the d-file as well. That's another weakness here. White's king is better. Black can feel a draft here on this diagonal and the back rank, and in general the black pieces seem a little bit too passive to me. So unfortunately, I think.
Eggy says he's shy.
Okay. So unfortunately, I think the evaluation isn't looking too great for our friend Björn Torfensson against Vladimir Potkin. So we'll leave that one for now. Maybe board 14 before Fiona gets smacked up. We'll have a look at the Icelandic players. We have a lot of Icelandic viewers, so of course we want to look at our guys as well. Dyer is playing against Matthew Cornett, and going to the current position.
And just to let you know, on board 11, Alexander Fier has beaten Zan Tomasini, so Fier is on 4.5 out of 6.
So let's see what happened here. Yeah, I had a chat with Cornet, and he was aware that Dagur is a dangerous opponent. And here a nice move, knight to e4. Around here he starts to win a pawn. This knight e4 move, if we actually, if I can give a 0 move, if it's white to move here, again, to show the threat, he will play probably knight to f6, it seems to me. This would win either a piece or an exchange, depending on what you want, because if you take queen check, you utilizing the pin. If you go here, you get mated, and if you go to the corner, you will also get mated eventually. Probably bishop takes and queen here. So knight e4, a strong move. But Cornet played bishop e6. Dagur took, played d5, and now he wins a pawn. He just took on a4. Now the question is, will black have enough counterplay for the pawn? Knight to c3, queen back, and Dagur now decided that he wants the knight defending the king side. So yeah, Dagur is up a pawn here. But black does have some counterplay. I mean, the queen could come to g4 maybe, play h5, h4. But overall, yeah, Dagur must be happy being off the pawn. He just has to weather the storm in a way. Black will attack a little bit, but if he doesn't manage to create anything, the extra pawn will count. So
sorry to interrupt you, Ingvar. Let's go back to board 2, Lupulescu against Mostasian, and get the players on camera, because that game is about to be over in a second. So after knight e3, black took on f5. E takes f5, rook f8, rook e5, knight f7, rook e7,
hitting the queen,
queen c5, f6,
okay,
queen c2, takes c2, f takes g7, and rook d8. That is the position on the board, and there is a crushing blow here for white, or like a winning move. Can you find it in the chat?
Yeah, I can find it. I think.
What do you think?
I think we can just take an f7, king takes, queen takes d8. We're threatening the queen. King takes g7, queen takes d4 check, and protecting the knight, and we're up a piece. Yeah.
Funnily enough, this is not a line, but it's not even one of the top 3 lines.
But rook takes f7, maybe queen takes b2. And if no, then queen takes d8. No, that doesn't work. Why? Why doesn't that work?
So let's try and figure out, because Schildkröte in the chat also suggested rook takes f7. Let's try and figure out, why does this not work?
Okay, let's try. Okay, if you take, I take check.
Yeah, this.
You have to take, queen, checkmate immediately. So, also taking here, you can give a check. You can give a check. Hello. And
this will be a draw, yeah?
A perpetual. What happens if I go out? I give you a check. E3. And this.
You cannot escape, yeah?
Circuit.
Or king e2?
Then I take with check. Yeah. And then all of a sudden black is winning.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate.
Okay, so that's why rook takes f7 doesn't work. We just always look at the checks. Okay, fair enough. But he has a crossing blow here, you say. Move like queen f6 looks tempting.
That is the one indeed.
Okay.
And it looks like there's just, I mean, we're threatening f7.
Yeah. And
so let's see a move like knight g5.
Maybe I can play rook d7 is one idea. Queen takes h6 is another idea.
White is still thinking. He's been thinking for 4 minutes. Oh! No, actually, I just saw the move here.
I was thinking about this. And, okay.
And you lose your queen, yeah?
No, I can play knight d1. That's what I wanted to do. But
But
I
still
wasn't
not
sure
F3,
what
yeah.
happens here.
Maybe not.
Or maybe just here and you don't have a check. And my next move is queen to h8. Yeah, I don't see anything here.
And he has just played queen f6. We can see it on the camera. So queen f6 is on the board, and Movsesian looks like he knows. He knows this is game over. Actually, after knight g5, it turns out h4 is also very, very strong.
After knight g5?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Because the knight basically just doesn't really have a square. Because then we're going to have threats of queen e6 as well, I guess.
Yeah, once we take, we're also just threatening queen f7.
Yeah.
So we don't have time to do anything really. Like takes.
Because now we also cover the
Yeah,
square
cover
on
f4,
f4.
very important.
Yeah.
There's no check here. Yeah. This will be tough.
Yeah. I
Well,
think it's
impossible,
not.
actually.
I think it's even possible that Movsesian will resign here.
Yeah, I think we should maybe.
Yeah. Should we keep them on camera? Let's keep board 2 on the camera, and let's move on to board 3, where once again some moves have been made between Maxime Lagarde and Gawain Jones. Actually, we could put them on camera too, because I'm not sure which of the two games will conclude first. So yeah, let's switch to camera after all on board 3, because I think it's likely they will finish first. We'll see. So we left it off after queen e1, when black responded with bishop takes f3. Knight takes
eliminating an attacker,
f3.
why not?
But of course, every piece that comes off the board is in black's favor. He's up so much material. Queen d7. Rook takes f6, so giving up yet more material.
Yeah, I think black's problem is that if you play rook e7, I think I can play rook e8 and trade more pieces.
A very nice tactic.
Takes, yeah.
And this is game over.
So he tried rook takes f6?
Yeah, but black just took back. And you're now down a full rook.
Yeah. I guess queen e4, that's
Queen
the
e4,
only move I see.
he played, yeah.
But it's just
Rook d8.
desperation on the station.
Rook d8, knight h4, and bishop takes f2.
Yeah, I'm sure Gawain has figured out a way to simplify here.
And I just spotted from the corner of my eye, I received a message from David Howell, who is also a teammate of myself and Aggie, and who's saying, what a brilliant display by Aggie. He just said it in less classy language. But yeah, big shout out to Aggie. And the game is over. I see the players are discussing. So Maxime did resign after bishop takes f2.
Yeah, because he's just going to trade queens. King takes queen d4. And yeah, the rook is just too strong.
And a new queen will appear on the board.
Yeah, very soon
as well.
So he didn't want any of that, and yeah, I mean, he could have resigned, or he was just.
Maybe we could get Gawain. I'm sure Gawain would happily join us. So let me try and go and get Gawain.
Okay. I would put up board 2 then. While we wait for that, which is Lupulescu against Movsesian. There we were expecting something to happen pretty soon. He did play knight g5, so that's the position on the board currently. And here it seemed like white has a pleasant choice between h4 and queen takes h6. And well, the good news, if you need any more good news, is that once you make that move, you have made the time control, so white has 9 minutes to figure out if he wants to go h4 or queen takes h6. And it seems to me that both moves should be enough for white to win here. Sasha, we just recently looked at Björn's game, and it seemed to be following the recipe of Potkin against Sigurbjörn, where Potkin is just playing very technically and he's going to torture Bjössi for a while. So actually we just leave the camera and the live board on MOV session and really quickly take a look back at Potkin against Þorfinnsson. And let's see if Bjössi has made any progress. In his defense, we had, I think, this position, h4, h5, rook d2, c5, rook d5. So okay, at the moment, black is defending, but his pieces are very passive. And now white is setting up again on the d-file, lining up against the pawn. And okay, Bjössi is repositioning his queen to a better, more centralized square. So maybe I'm giving too much credit to the Russian school of chess, I guess, but this looks very nice for white, but he has to find a way to improve, and I think he will, but at the moment I don't really see the obvious way to improve. And we all know that Bjössi is a tricky customer, so you can't give him any counter chances. Okay, so has anything happened in Mosesjan's game? It looks like he's still thinking. Lupulescu. So we're actually coming closer to the time trouble phase, and wondering which game we should actually have a look at. Well, maybe since we're looking at the Icelandic games, I'm going to go back to Dagur. He was up this pawn against Cornet on board 14. Board 14, Dagur against Cornet. We had this, knight g3, not a lot of moves, queen to d8, rook f2 e1. Matthew centralized his knight and rook to c3. White seems to have everything more or less under control, looking like a very, very good extra pawn here for Dagur. We haven't looked at both sides for a while, so let's have a look at Alexandra. She's on board 20 something. Kanarek against Botes, which is board 24. So when we left that game, we felt like Alexandra would be facing a tough defense with the isolated pawn, and sort of a nice, let's just quickly go through the game again. It was a, multiple transpositions, first a London to a Veresov, and then we have a perch finally. And at some stage we had a big trade here in the center, knight takes, and Alexandra ended up with a isolated pawn, nothing catastrophic, but probably exactly what White wanted. We had this all earlier in the broadcast, and we left it here, and as expected, knight to d4. White, the standard strategy when you play against an isolated pawn is you want to trade off pieces, and that will make the isolated pawn more of a target. So Alexandra avoids the trade. Bishop back to c2, rook d to e8, and a4 now, trying to soften up the queen side a little bit, create another weakness. Bishop d7, rook takes, and let's get up to speed. After rook a1, knight c4, b3, knight d6, king f1. I mean, not much has changed. White is statically doing okay, but nothing catastrophic at the moment. But I see Fiona has gotten queen in.
Should we just
Can I maybe take a break then? Or? Yeah.
Let's just mic the
Yeah.
mics.
So Fiona's going to have a seat, and we're going to mic up Quain. maybe I'll actually pull up, get the full game.
And we're back, and we're delighted to be joined by Grandmaster Gawain Jones from England, who just won a nice game against Maxime Lagarde. Before you take us through the game, maybe just give us your first impressions without the board.
Well, it was one of those games that he definitely made interesting. He started I think the opening went quite well for me, and maybe he sensed that and started playing some really enterprising sacrificing everything. And one of those games,
too much, maybe?
I think too much, yeah, without checking it yet, but it felt like it was too much with some accurate defense. But it was a game that I was hoping wouldn't get published everywhere, because if it does, it means his attack is broken through.
Yeah. So let's have a look at it with the board. So I'll just let you take us through it.
Yes, is it ready? So I was black in a Spanish, and I played the Archangel. And it was a bit strange. He seemed to start thinking quite early on. So this has been my main line for the last couple of years. And he played this topical A5 line. And I had a horrible game against Fabiano in Isle of Man, where he crushed me without playing.
Years ago.
Yeah. Which year was that? 2017 or 2018?
2017
it must be, yeah.
To guess.
Last time, 2017. And he crushed me with some home analysis. So.
Surprising in that case that Lagarde would be thinking. Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know quite what his preparation was. Like I played this slightly more solid way that Magnus played in the next game against Fabiano, the day after our game. And so we got to this position, it's the key one out of the opening. And White has quite a lot of different moves here.
So I spent quite a lot of time on...
Yeah, he's already spent quite a lot of time to get this, and then he thought for, 9 minutes here on, and he moved. Like Queen C2 is probably the main line. And Fabiano tried G4 here against
Scout
Fabiano.
in the chat is saying Gawain is bringing the pain.
Okay.
Maybe a lot of self-inflicted pain today.
Yeah, I think he just got a bit too enthusiastic. Maybe after playing Fisher Random yesterday,
I think he was also he was at the pub quiz, as were you. I'll ask you about that after the game. And Ingvar was telling us that they went into town, spun the wheel. So maybe that's where the creativity came from.
Maybe that's why he was thinking in the opening. So. Not so easy when it's a 1 o'clock start if you're out the night before.
Yeah.
So okay, so he played this Queen B1, and it's logical to take on D4 generally in these positions when you can. And already after C takes D4, Knight B4, it's quite a double-edged position. White has the centre for now, but I'm going to play Bishop B7 to attack this E4 pawn.
I guess you were quite happy with how the opening went.
Yeah, I thought that this felt very comfortable for Black already. And I guess he did too, because he had a long think here and played a very strange-looking move that I didn't understand when he played it, Rook A3.
Already ideas of swinging the rook over.
Yeah, already it's a very aggressive idea. So I thought I could probably play Bishop B7 here as well to target the pawn on E4. I think Black must be fine, but I was more ambitious with C5.
In the chat, Centipede is saying Gawain and Eggleston doing it for the Brits. Absolutely,
Yeah,
great day for England. Eggy played a crushing game to beat Harry Tari.
Yeah, I just saw the position after the opening. I thought that Tari was completely equal, and then I looked again and
Eggy was crushing through.
Yeah, it's game over. Yeah, so we got this c5, dc, dc, and if white just waits here, then I'll play c4 next move, and this bishop gets blocked out of the game on b3. My bishop on a7 comes to life. I can attack this pawn on e4, and the pawn on a5 might even be vulnerable. So he decided to attack with bishop takes f7. I have to take it, and e5. And it's a very interesting piece sacrifice. It's only for one pawn to start with, but the idea is if I play the most logical move, so knight to d5, then I think he's going to sacrifice the other bishop on h6. I take queen h7 check, and okay, it's king here, and then this looks extremely scary. He can start by taking this pawn on h6, or I was wondering if he could even play a knight move somewhere.
And suddenly the rook on a3 is not so silly.
Yeah, and then the rook is coming in. I don't know where. Say knight d4, probably not the right square. But, and then rook f3 next, yeah, and that'd be very dangerous.
Well, actually, in the game after bishop b7, Fuxia in the chat was saying bishop g5 looks a bit at first sight like a mouse slip. Because apparently bishop takes h6 was the stronger move. But since we don't use an engine, we didn't manage to figure it all out. But apparently bishop takes h6 was the best move after bishop b7.
Okay. And maybe I should play differently here as well. I was looking at so many different moves. Like I can play knight g8 to stop this bishop takes h6 idea. But then I think he'll play knight e4. And the knight's coming into d6, and my king looks very stupid on f7. I wasn't really sure this was enough with an engine for white, but during the game it felt very scary.
If I recall, with the engine, actually, it said here that after bishop b7, bishop takes h6 would lead to a draw.
Ah, okay.
And after e5, apparently...
Should I play? Yeah, queen d5 is the other line out. I couldn't decide between queen d5 and bishop b7.
And I am nobody really in the chat just pointed out as well. Queen d5. If you're wondering which game we're looking at, Seagull, well, I'm with Gawain Jones here, and he's showing us his win against Maxime Lagarde. It says so, the names are just below on the live one.
Yeah, queen d5, I just couldn't figure out what was happening. He'll take my knight, then I get bishop f5 with tempo. He plays a queen somewhere, c1 or d1, and I can win the exchange, but my king is vulnerable. I was wondering if I could even play king takes f6. And maybe this is very good for me. But I got a bit scared about g4 and some attack with my king stuck on f6.
Yeah.
I was even looking at some really weird stuff with g6 here. With the same
sorry
idea.
to interrupt you just for 1 second, but we have a sole tournament leader, and it's Constantin Lupulescu, who has just beaten Movsesian. So that means our top 5 boards already over once again. Quick, it's happening. It's happening quickly. But back to your game.
We play quicker games to know the start. It seems when it's a 5 o'clock start.
Then
bound
we
to
like
still be playing at 11
to
p.m.
not be able to get food at night, and etc. etc.
But yeah, this g6 with some really weird lines as well, where I was looking at bishop takes h6, bishop f5, and I think he can play e takes f6. This is the line that really scared me. Maybe it doesn't work. Take on b1, knight g5 check. The rook is coming over to f3 check. It looked way too scary for me, so I don't know whether it's all working, but yeah. I decided that bishop b7 was the safest. And so you said the engine
bishop
says that this bishop takes h6
I think
is
it
a
even
draw.
suggests a pretty quick repetition here. So after bishop b7, bishop takes h6,
G takes,
e takes f6,
queen takes f6, and what, queen h7 check?
Wait, I don't know.
Oh, do I have a problem here? I need to throw and take on e1, yeah? This is, I want to take on e1 first.
And knight takes. And then queen f6, and then just queen h7, queen f5.
Okay, yeah.
I
think I might have missed that my bishop was hanging on b7 here. So I thought I could play king f8, and I'm controlling the f3 square. Although even then, rook g3 is scary. So, and some draw like this.
Yeah.
Would have been an interesting game, but I don't know if he saw that and was going for more with bishop g5. Or
I mean, maybe he also
it's-
missed that the bishop was hanging on b7.
Yeah,
It's
I think he
easy
probably
to
also
miss
missed it.
from a distance. But bishop g5 is a move that to the eye looks
Yeah, it does look
very
like, if
funny.
it was online, you'd definitely think it's a mouse
Yeah.
with this one. But, so his idea is to take on f6 with the bishop now, so I have to take it really. He takes, play the king back. And yeah, the problem is if he takes my knight immediately, then I can deflect the queen always by trading rooks, and now he's got no queen h7 check, and I think I'm very safe. So he started with knight df3, and I am 2 pieces up here, so it's hard to
2
believe
pieces
that it
up,
should be
but it
enough.
wasn't even that scary. I mean, it felt like, or it looked scary, but it always felt like if you found it a few precise moves. Did you
Yeah.
have the same impression? Or?
Yeah, I thought that it should be defensible with this knight on f6 always. I can just give it up and I should be fine. If the times had been the other way around, then it would have been scary, but
Yeah.
I was also 40 minutes up on time or something.
Which
So,
was
it's,
nice, yeah.
so yeah, I dropped my other knight back to defend. And he came up with some very interesting ideas here. So yeah, again, if he takes on f6, then I'll take on e1. And it's important that if he takes with the queen, then I need to cover the e6 square, and so I take with the queen as well. And if he takes with the knight, then I need to cover the h7 square. So I take with the knight. But he tried rook ae3, throwing another exchange.
Which you gladly accepted.
Yeah. Well, the more pieces I take, the fewer he's got to
Yeah.
make me with. So. And if he takes on f6 immediately, I take, I think, and he can start checking, but I think all he
King
does
is
is
going
forces me to the safety over on the queen side, and he's going to run
running
out of checks.
pieces
Yeah.
and checks, yeah.
So he recaptured, and afterwards he said he missed my move here, which I think neutralizes everything. Originally I thought that this was completely winning for me because I can take on f3. He takes my knight and I get to exchange queens on d1. But suddenly I realized his trick. He has f7 check, he takes my rook, and knight h7 check.
Ah, very nice.
And I think this is just a
Knight
draw,
e5,
because if I try for more with my king up, for example, then at the end of the line, my bishop is trapped on a7,
Ah, very nice.
so I'm losing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to go to plan B,
But rook e5 looked,
giving up my
yeah.
one of my extra pieces. But
Yeah.
yeah, now I'm cementing my knight on f6, so I shouldn't ever be getting mated. So he took, and now I'm threatening mate, so he has to start dropping his pieces back and get my final pieces in. And there was
The last
one last
try.
idea, yeah, here. So I took on f3. He can't take on f6 now because queen d1 does work, and I get to exchange queens. So he took, and now if I just play rook g8 to try and exchange queens, I think he can take on f6 and get some perpetuals. So I just covered the squares. If rook e7, I can now go rook e8 and get rid of these rooks because it's check on e1. So he has no time to take my bishop. So he tried giving up the exchange, but there's not really any pieces left, and
and you
I just gave my
decided to
bishop back.
simplify,
Yeah.
yeah.
If he takes, I can trade queens and win the pawn on b2. So it's should be
Absolutely.
very straightforward.
Nice game. Also in the chat, Rock Solid, who I believe is from England, because he's always asking after you and Eggy's game, saying, "Well done, Gawain. I always like to watch your games. You're getting complimented on your soothing voice as well." And Niels is completely winning, of course, good friend
That's good.
of yours. So all good.
No, it's not.
Huh? No, Bray is, of course, also our friend. But yeah, before I let you off, also congratulations on our behalf, of course. Tell me about yesterday. You played both in the Fisher Random and in the pub quizzes night. What did you make of both events?
It was good fun. The Fisher Random was something I'd never played before, so I didn't really know what it'd be like, but I just tried to get some practice at it and some opposition that was extremely strong. They played a lot of grandmasters, and I think probably my final score of 6 out of 9 was more or less correct, but the individual results were all wrong. I was winning my totally lost positions and losing my completely won positions. So.
Yeah, I think I heard that from quite a few people throughout the day. And then the pub quiz, you played with your wife Sue and friends from New Zealand, I think.
The Kiwi Nation team, yeah.
And how did that go? What was your score? I don't even know.
We got 21.5.
Okay,
so I think we came second.
At all. Yeah, very impressive.
Bill has very good knowledge, so it was definitely thanks to him. And the rest of us contributed 1 or 2, but it was nearly all a solo effort.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah, it was always
I
good
mean,
fun.
Ingvar is in the room, so you don't really have a choice but to say you did.
We need to give me some answers beforehand next time.
Maybe we can bribe Ingvar next year.
Yeah.
Okay, Gawain, thank you very much for your time. Congratulations. Sue is with us. She's also won her game today, so it's a successful day for the family. I'll let you go enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks a lot.
Best of luck for the coming rounds.
Cheers.
And we'll be back with Ingvar in just a second. We'll just change the camera view while we get him mic'd up. And we're back here with Ingvar. Always very nice having Gawain, a great guy, fantastic player. He's one of my favorite players to follow, very active and aggressive style. And yeah, good game from him. Maybe Lagarde a bit over-optimistic today.
Yeah.
So while we were talking, oh, and by the way, Karpov Gambit in the chat, we just left when you asked your question, but I asked him off air. He does not speak Maori yet, and even his Kiwi wife, Sue, doesn't speak Maori either, so I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So yeah, while we were talking, the Lupulescu game finished. He beat Movsesian. Ingvar said he had left the position after knight g5 when Lupulescu found h4, after which Movsesian resigned. So he is now the sole tournament leader on 5.5 out of 6. Behind him on 5 out of 6 we have Hovhannissian, we have Firouzja, we have Gawain Jones, and Aggie, and that's all.
Yeah.
So only a group of 4 players behind him. And also Niels Gwendelius won his game while we were away, so the top 6 boards are already over. Let's see what's still going on.
I think we have a lot more results actually.
Yeah, because time control has been reached. So let me update. On board 7, Parleygrass beat Christopher Yu.
Young Christopher Yu?
Young Christopher Yu. And then a bit further down, Alexander Fier won, this we already said. Pragnananda beat Peter Sore. And then Grandmaster Sadzikovsky beat Björnsson.
Yeah, unfortunately, Siebert had been having a good tournament. Still
Andrew Tang. Apparently, Andrew Tang's opponent missed mate in 1. I don't know if that was from a winning position.
Okay, I'll just pull that game up while you go over the scores, right? Okay.
It was winning anyway, but let's just check it out. It's very rare to see mate on the board. So yeah, a win for Andrew Tang. And then Alexandra Botes and Aman Hambleton are both still playing, so we can have a look at that. Jorva Gretason won his game against Leon Piasecki. Gukesh beat Schwertek. Pritu beat Aaron May. Or Mai, what do you pronounce it?
Mai.
Mai.
The brother of the their brothers, Alexander and Oliver.
Okay.
Alexander, Oliver and Aaron.
And Robbie Kevlishvili won his game, and Istvan Boros beat Valtisran. So that's for the results. And much earlier in the day, Vignir Stefansson had beaten Loftur Balfinsson.
Yeah.
So those are the updated results.
Loftur is he's a landkrabbi. It's a local joke, but it seems like after King F7, the king is getting mated no matter what, and Alexander just played knight g4. I mean, you can't really do anything about this threat, it seems. So might as well try something. And bishop d7, allowed to mate on the board.
Yeah.
But probably, yeah, he was struggling anyway, like you said. So what do we want to have a
Let's
look at
go
then?
to Alexandra and to Aman.
Ah, yeah.
The crowds were very happy with
So we
that
start with
suggestion.
Aman on board 20.
I think let's start. I think
Five.
let's start with. Oh, let's start with Aman. Okay.
Yeah, because it's shorter since I looked at Alexandra actually.
I didn't realize you had looked at her game.
Yeah. So let's be. Okay. I mean, when we looked at the game, Aman was already a pawn up, and we proclaimed that it was just a technical win for black. Yeah, the action happened when he played this move knight c5, utilizing the pin, hitting d4, and after knight b3 he won the pawn on d4.
Meanwhile, Tigran Petrosian has beaten Alex Astani Lopez on board 8. So once again, a lot of decisive results today on the top 8 boards. Only 2 draws so far.
I saw some criticism online about glorifying decisive results.
Which is
I
insane.
did not understand that. I think that's
Also,
what people want to see.
Absolutely. On board 10, Potkin beat Bjorn Torfinsson, so
Yeah.
that's another decisive
yeah.
result.
It was looking tough for Björn, but
Yeah.
he seems to be really solid against this range of players, 2400, 23, 2400.
Yeah.
It was a very similar game to what happened against Sigurd, technical win. But the Aman just, he's a pawn up here, he can maneuver the knight to c5 at some point. He, now he maneuvers it to c5, this will hit the a4 pawn, he will probably win it. He does, and he's just a pawn up.
Yeah.
And pushing
He's
the
just
pawn.
push a5. Also, Sabino Brunello won his game against Justin Sarkar.
Because like Yasser said, push him, baby. And
Absolutely.
Aman should know that. So I think this will be an easy,
H4,
relatively easy win.
H4 has just been played, but I suspect he can probably just push the a pawn.
Why-
It's
yeah,
going
why
to
not?
be very hard to stop.
What do you do with passed pawns?
Push
him,
him, baby.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So
why not? Yeah.
let's have a look at Alexandra's game, and after that, I think we'll probably just have a quick look at the remaining games, and then we'll wrap up the show very shortly.
Okay, board 24 is Alexandra Botes with black. And
So Alexandra, apparently I read in the chat when we had a look at it much earlier, when I was with you, we thought her position was difficult, but apparently she has fought back and is holding her own.
yeah, so I actually had a quick look at this before you came in. So let's see, rook a7, still, I mean, white is statically better, but it's not much. Black is defending quite well actually, king f8, and white is trying to find a way through. And here I had a quick peek earlier, and Alexandra actually found the only move to keep the game going. Otherwise, she's in trouble.
And just as we were speaking, Aman Hambleton won his game. His opponent resigned after a4 was
there's
played.
nothing to play for.
Yeah.
Just push the pass pawns, simple rule. She played b4 here, a very nice move.
Ingvar, out of all the games that have finished on the top 31 boards, we only had 2 draws, which is unbelievable. Incredible.
Yeah. I will have to find
A new title for your
title
report.
for my report. No, I will.
New decisive results galore.
Anti-draw. Yada. Okay, but yeah, this b4 move is pretty nice because you had to do it, otherwise you might be in trouble. And this allows black to trade off some pieces. If white were to take on a b5, we give a check, and you lose the rook, so you have to find something else. And white took on d7, but of course Alexandra flicked in knight takes d4. So now the question is, can she hold this endgame? The knight actually is pretty well posted, but the question is how strong
Are these pawns?
Yeah, will these b pawns become knight c6, b5? And now where to put the knight.
And this was actually this was the last move before reaching
so they just
move
reached
40.
the time control maybe, yeah. So she played knight d4, okay, and reached the time control. So here, I think both sides will take their time because.
So how do you evaluate her drawing chances?
It's hard to say. I mean, at the moment, the knight is doing a pretty good job. It does cover a lot of squares that the bishop can go to, so it's dominating the bishop in a way. And, well, the first problem is how do you defend actually the pawn on b5? And I'm not sure how you do it. If you play bishop e2, I can equalize the pawns by taking on b3. And probably black is just okay here. I mean, b6, king c6.
Apparently the result from the top board is wrong on chess results. Let me just see if that is correct.
On Hovhannisyan against Firouzja.
1 second, I just...
So, okay, maybe this is just a good job by...
Yeah, the result from the top board is wrong on chess results. It should say draw on the top board between Hovhannisyan and Firouzja.
If not, we will get it fixed.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, actually quite fancy
Alexandra's
getting the good result here, getting a draw, and maybe even more if if white goes crazy. But you know, that's unlikely though. But a draw would be excellent.
A very good.
So maybe we'll have a roundup of the games that are left.
Should we have a quick look at just a roundup of all the games that are left?
Yeah, and then maybe
just evaluate the current positions. Yeah. So let's start on board 9, the last game that's still going on in the top 10, and it's Abhijit Gupta against Zhenyu Lo.
Yeah,
so
it looks
I think we're just going to go to current positions. This one's probably not so much to look at because it's 2 pawns up in the end.
No, now it's only 1.
I know, only 1.
Yeah,
but I didn't see the pawn on 07.
But I think you can multiply this one by 2 because it's very strong. This looks like it just decides the game. Probably there's not much left in this.
No. So Abhijit Gupta is going to win his game and be part of a massive group of players on 4.5 out of 6. So the next game that's still going is board 12, Djukic against Tanya Sajda.
Yeah, we didn't have any time to have a look at this one. Tanya with black seems to be struggling in the end game. Rook b6 was the last move, and looks like...
do we want to do another interview?
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to take this one?
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to have another interview. It's going to be Grandmaster Sabino Brunello who won his game. Can I remember it from the top of my head? No, I can't. Against Justin Sarka. I'm going to get a quick break and we'll get Sabino mic'd up.
Hello and welcome back. We're joined by Grandmaster Sabino Brunello from Italy, who just finished his game against Justin Sakar.
Good to be here.
Yeah, welcome. Justin Sakar, well, he's been having a pretty strong tournament, it seems. And you had the black pieces in this one?
Yes,
Would
and it
you
was a
mind?
very sharp game where at some point I thought it was worse.
Yeah. So it was a Sicilian?
And Najdorf. And he played the bishop g5 line, which is very interesting.
Is it on,
complicated
is
for
it on
both.
principle that you have to play the Sicilian as an Italian? Or?
No, but sometimes I do that. And yes. I'm not so sure why I chose to play like this today, but I felt inspired somehow.
Yeah.
Okay, this is just an opening. Queen e2 is not really the main move, but it's very tricky. Some ideas on the e file with the queen on e2. Because now when you jump knight d5, pawn take, e take d5, it's already a check and I'm pinned.
Yeah, and
so
so
this is
and knight f5 incoming.
dangerous, generally speaking, yes.
He seems to like, most likely of course you looked at this game, he takes a lot of risks.
Yes,
No,
he likes to
interesting
play
game.
interesting games,
Yeah,
not
he's
just to
Indian.
be solid and...
Already 3 games in this tournament, three games in a row, he was either up a piece or down a piece, so
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't see that. But yes, he has a nice style.
yeah.
So, okay, I'm not sure what's going on exactly, but you know, it's some opening. And yeah, now g4 could be a move. King b1 seems a bit slow to me. So around here I should be okay,
Yeah,
especially here. He chose to play a3. I was worried about e5, which the engine now is kind of recommending
yeah,
with compensation, yeah? But at the same time I thought it was a pawn up, I was going to win some center and yeah, hoping that the compensation would not
Yeah.
be too much.
would be a complicated game.
Yes,
Of
for
course.
sure. a3, and now rook b8, thought was very interesting. Because I threatened b4 right away,
Uh-huh.
and that's of course risky for the king on b1. So somehow my king in the center is not especially weak at the moment. He played bishop e1, which is interesting because the bishop on h4 might be kind of stuck. I mean, if you want to play g4, h4,
Yeah,
it's the wrong place for the bishop, and it's protecting now controlling the square on b4 somehow, even though the engine
Yeah.
recommends just pushing. I didn't realize that was possible, to be honest.
so yeah, just play b4.
Yeah, so apparently this bishop b7 was a mistake. I was not sure about knight b6, because now he might push e5,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I don't know. Anyway, this can't be too bad, even though the engine disagrees.
Yeah.
On g4, I was intending g5.
Okay,
Maybe we should put this on the board, right?
so g4, yeah, logical if he wants to attack,
Yes.
and you play
The engine
g5.
is very happy with it, but I was very happy with black. And my point is that I assessed a position like this as nice for black,
Yeah.
thanks to the square on
E5
e5 for the
square.
knight. Well, the engine keeps fighting by h4, let's say, and complicated game, I guess. But still, I'm happy with my
Yeah.
knight. And generally speaking, I feel that if my pieces are well placed, I have a complicated game at least.
Mm-hmm.
Play g3, which is logical. So I assume that he was afraid of this g5,
Yeah,
because otherwise g3 doesn't make much sense. And knight b6. I could also go to c5, yeah, but I thought going to c4 made sense.
uh-huh.
Bishop g2. Okay, I jump. Now king a2, which was a big surprise. I mean, it cannot be good to play like this with white, really.
No,
But it's not so easy to prove. Because after all, my question is, where do I put my king, first of all? Which is a serious question, because as soon as I castle, it's just going to push all of the pawns,
yeah,
because I no longer have this trick with g5. And b4 is hard to make, and of course a5 blunders a pawn on b5. So I didn't find out how to play exactly. I chose this knight d7,
mm-hmm.
interesting, just bringing one more piece. And also have this idea to put my bishop on f6, which can be useful many times. And here I played, shockingly, knight b1.
Okay, wow.
Yes, I was very surprised.
Yeah.
I thought it might do it, but at the same time, you know, it's a strange move. But actually the bishop will be nice on c3, and sometimes he can play b3 and regroup. And
Yeah,
you know, in a practical game, it's very confusing.
I think he likes to go for like weird ideas like this.
Yeah, because for me it's not easy to create an attack. In the end I chose to castle, which is the top move by the engine, but it's also very risky because now I'm committed. My king will stay there forever, which could be a very short time actually. If I give him like 3 moves, it's going to be really short.
Yeah, so
he played
ahead,
immediately
H4,
this H4, which looks like a good decision to me. And now I tried this one. And I played G4. I was thinking maybe bishop C3. Also, at some point he could have pushed B3 just to kick my knight and keep it more. Okay, he's creating a weakness, but my knight is getting towards square.
No, but this A3 and B3 is not necessarily, completely bad. I saw a good game by Bologan in his book where he played B3 and,
With a king on A2?
No, but okay, king on B1, but it's not so easy maybe to break through anyway.
Right, maybe with the bishop on C1.
Yeah, maybe.
Yes, makes sense. So he went all in, let's say. And now I took a positional decision. Which generally speaking, I mean, it's a typical Sicilian style idea. Somehow I got my knight on E5 anyway, and I was happy with it. Although the position is probably not too clear. I'm happy with black. All of my pieces are well placed. Knight on B1, So, and here very important H5. Because if I let him open, I'm in trouble. But now Queen H5 is a move. Then he has to go back.
If we go back one move each.
Yes.
If it was your move, would you play G6 here or?
With black?
Yeah.
G6?
Yeah. I mean, are you worried? Would you play to close the position or?
No. I would never do anything. On the king side, I'm waiting until G5 to play H5.
To play H5, okay.
And he has no other breaks.
Okay. So this happened, G5, H5?
Yes, I think it's correct by both. Very important because if I don't play H5, it looks strange because the pawn is hanging,
So what happens if he takes?
If he takes, I just go knight E3 and I've got lots of counter.
Yeah.
Simply what I need is to slow him down. I mean, what is really important is that the queen on H5 is not threatening anything, he has to go back, and there's no way to open the H5. Because even when you push to H6, I play G6 and I hide my king behind the pawn. So, somehow those ideas can be strange. But of course, it's quite a typical idea. Really come up with it at the board,
No, but
I've seen it before.
Nice for the viewers to see these ideas.
Of course, it gives you a lot of satisfaction. And also the next move that I played might be a mistake. Since it's not in the... it's showing up. It's A5.
Okay.
I thought it was a great concept. I don't care about the pawn on B5, because after all, it's opening...
If he takes, then it just helps you open the B5.
Opening my rook. And otherwise, it's correct. Because I'm just pushing my pawns and creating a strong initiative. I think knight B5, queen C5 should be very good. Also, the rook on D4 is a tactical weakness, so bishop C6 next for the open file, and this should be very good. Somehow he defended well. This was still not B4, easy to prove, and I think A4 was the right.
Sort of mirroring what you did on the other side.
Yes, although my pieces are better placed
of course,
to break through this time. He was tricky. He played rook H3, which, bringing a rook into the game on B3, on C3 sometimes. And here I went crazy because I didn't manage to find out the details of the position. Also, we were getting low on time, and here you have to calculate.
Okay.
Because
you're not a stranger to being low on time.
Right. And I'm also not a stranger to not be able to calculate the position. But rook Fc8. It's a good move, apparently. And bishop F1, again, immediately. And I think, again, it's the best resource. Because, he's including all of the pieces. The position is very dubious. But it's up to me now to prove it. And
but it looks very nice. I mean, you have all the heavy pieces lined up.
Yes, but still I didn't find... Because if I take on A3, he's going to play B3. The rook is going to C3. And he's exchanging my strong pieces. And after all, he has 2 bishops. And if I don't win much material in the ending, he's going to have compensation for a pawn, let's say. So I really need to do something. And I play rook b6, which is not a bad move, I guess. I'm intending to go to c6 to attack the pawn on c2. And rook b3 was played, which is probably bad, yes? I'm not sure if I found the right refutation, because here I took,
Mm-hmm.
and I took here. Yeah, I thought it would not be great. I actually missed the bishop h3 here as a move.
Aha.
We should show this, I think.
He can play this.
No, he didn't. Lucky for me.
I mean, yeah, he can.
Yes,
He can
he
play
could.
this. Yeah.
Knight g4 is the only way, because if I move my rook from c8, well, first of all, on king a3, queen c1, king a2, rook c2 is
Yeah,
very
of course.
important.
Yeah.
If I no longer have a rook there, like here, let's say rook b8, then he can take, and with queen c1, king a2, I'm
Yeah. and
lost,
Yeah.
actually. So this is the move.
Mm-hmm.
But he's getting rid of a bishop which was not as good as my knight at the moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, white is still under pressure. Check.
And king a4.
King a4. Wow. It's not easy to catch the king.
No.
I mean, it looks very dubious to
Yeah.
go for a walk. But
Yeah, it's a brave
engine
decision.
says,
It still looks,
yeah,
according to the engine, that you should be
on top.
on top,
Yes.
but maybe not so easy to find.
Right, and we both have to be accurate.
Yeah.
Well, generally speaking, it's harder to play with white. But at the same time, when you have such a horrible position, you just have to make whatever move doesn't lose instantly.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get lucky.
Exactly.
So
he
yeah,
did
here
play
he
king
took
takes.
like this.
Okay, queen c1.
And now queen b2, queen e1 is
Uh-huh.
one of my tricks. King
So
a2 is lost to king
So
c2.
you went for
he
this
went
king
up.
a4, okay.
And for a second here, I was, sorry, king a4. Yes, I was not so sure here if rook b8 was winning, but maybe not, because he's going back to d1, and somehow all of the squares
Yeah.
are covered. The king is really stuck. I mean, it's completely stuck on a4 for a very long time, but it's not easy to prove that I can actually mate him. So in the end, I went like this.
Okay, queen a1. King
Another
c5.
check, so he has to
Mhm.
go to a6. Now quiet move queen c1, just bringing it back. Yeah, this is correct finally. And I found queen c5 as well, to be accurate, just to stop the king from retreating.
Yeah.
And rook a8 is a final threat.
Now it should be made in a few moves.
Yeah. Well, the engine was kind of confirming what happened. I
Yeah.
thought it could be worse, what the engine says in such games. But it was fun and very unclear at the board.
Okay, nice game. So how many points do you have now in the tournament?
I made 3 draws, so that's 4.5.
Okay, so you're undefeated still.
Yes.
Of course, this is not your first time
Oh no.
in Reykjavik.
I enjoy being here.
Yeah, but this time you're the only Italian.
Yes.
Well, we have some lower-rated Italians, but usually we have a few players. But yeah,
I'm hanging out with the Romanians.
Okay.
They're doing really well in the
Yeah.
tournament.
he also did really well in the official random yesterday. He came
Yes.
third and fourth. So
They're in great shape.
and Lupulescu is probably he's
Yeah, they both won today as well.
sole leader now. So
Yes.
great tournament for them so far. But we still have some rounds to play, and remains to
sure.
be seen what happens. Anyway, I thank you for stopping by. We're going to get Fiona back and just wrap things up. So I guess we'll get the producer to put the screen on, and we'll mic Fiona up. Thank you.
And we're back. I moved a bit
Well,
further
you're
away
back at least.
from you. Yeah, we're back, round 6. As you can see from the camera view, a lot of games have finished, especially on the top, and very few draws. Out of the 11, let me do some quick math, 11, 15,
Quick mash.
20, out of the 22 games which have finished on the live boards, only 2 have ended in draws, which is incredible. So what we are going to do now is we'll have a quick look at just the current positions, I believe, of the games that are still going. And then we'll wrap it up for the day, and we'll start with Tanya Sachdev's game, which we're looking at just before the break. Meanwhile, Abhijit Gupta, we saw it, he had an extra pawn in the bishop endgame. He has converted that against Lo Zhen. So we'll start with board 12, Dukic against Tanya Sachdev.
Okay. So let's maybe, do we have more moves? Do you have, do you
yeah,
have the games?
I have
didn't
the
pull it up.
game. No, I don't actually. Let me pull it up.
Number 12.
So
I had the
have
41st move, rook
okay,
b6.
a few more moves. So after that, black played f5, king f3, rook d3, king f2, king g5, a5, rook d2, king e1, rook a2, and b4 is on the board.
Yeah. Well, my first impression was that, okay, the material is equal, but we have double connected pass pawns against this and this. So basically it's 2 against 1. Okay, the extra pawn on f7 at least, you know, defends the knight, but
in this position, I guess it's very much a race. I guess, can I play
yeah, well,
f4?
it's true. Black is also has, you know, her own pass pawn as well. So maybe
I mean, I
too
would
quick
probably,
to-
yeah. I would be a bit scared here if I was white. Because the rook, okay, is supporting the white pawns, but it's going to take the rook a while to come back and defend. And the knight can very quickly jump into d4.
yeah.
The black
If we
knight.
allow f3 and f2 check, then we might have to be careful. So yeah, maybe I have to reassess my assessment. Yeah, it's her move, so she can play f4. I probably should. And okay, maybe it's not so easy.
I mean, it doesn't look easy at all.
No.
I mean, if I could choose, I would take black here, probably.
Yeah, maybe it's more about the quality of
Of
the pass
pawns,
pawn than the quantity. Just like in queen endgames, it is better to have one pawn that's about the
That
queen
is
then.
more advanced,
Yeah.
yeah.
And also, yeah, the rook is supporting it, the king might come in, and the knight is not far away, so maybe, yeah, not that clear.
Yeah. But Tanya is still thinking, maybe we'll have time once we wrap up our tour to see if this one has changed. I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
The next move, the next game is board 13, Hannes Stefansson against Mas van der Plasche.
I thought he already won. Yeah, he already won.
He did already
Yeah.
win. So we can move over to board 14, Dago Ragnarsson against Mathieu Cornet.
Ah, yeah.
Okay, and
let's see
this
that one.
has changed quite a bit.
Dyer was trying to nurture an extra pawn, and it seems like he managed to do that. We have a lot of moves, so I think we'll just go to the end game.
Yeah,
It's already
let's
moved
go.
60,
Yeah.
and when we looked at it, it was... Yeah, he had the extra pawn, and it seems like he has gotten to the end game up this pawn, and white to move, and why not?
And king f5 has just been played.
Why not attack the pawns? It
And-
looks like he's just going to pick up these
Yeah,
pawns.
Mathieu responded immediately with knight d3. I don't know if we have time to let him take on b2. Let's have a quick look. If we take on g5,
Yeah, I almost don't care about this pawn
Yeah.
because you have to go away.
I mean, 2 pawns
pretty
just
far.
look like too much, and
Maybe,
especially with the
maybe I
black
should
ping
actually
king.
flick an h3.
Actually, he did take on g5,
Yeah.
and Mathieu played knight
Knight
e1.
Okay. Yeah, the b pawn doesn't matter, I think. I mean, you can't be spending time on that. And okay. And now we can't guard the g2 pawn. So
Oh, we already. He played knight d5 check, and he's probably just gonna drop the knight back.
yeah,
to
of course you can
either
defend with a
e3
knight.
or
Yeah.
f4.
Let's say king c5.
This game will probably be
Knight f4, yeah, this should be over.
over, yeah.
We can play h3 though to at least.
And we're being
provide some
told
problems.
by the chat that unfortunately it looks like Alexandra has blundered.
Okay.
Chicos is saying so sad because she played very well until this move. We'll get to that in a second.
No, I think like we don't even have time for this.
After
H4.
knight d5, yeah, white played, black played, sorry, king
He's a
c5.
foul, yeah, of course.
And yeah, but it looks like white will win
Yeah, and
this
already played knight
quite
f4.
comfortably. And he did play knight f4.
And the only try is h3.
It's gonna be a bad
He's
day
played
for
that.
the French players. Maybe Mr. Libby did the right thing in taking a bite because we saw Lagarde lost quite horribly.
Maybe they're
against
paying for
Gaucho.
the excellent spin of the wheel from yesterday.
Yeah, could be. Could be. Because, yeah, this Mathieu after knight f4 played h3.
Yeah, as expected. And I think
But I mean, I can just
I just take with the pawn,
it,
I think.
yeah.
And
I mean, one of the pawns
it's
is
3
going to
pawns.
become a queen.
Don't even have time, like I was just looking at. You don't have time to take this pawn. I think you just play h4 and your knight is lagging behind.
Yep.
Unless you can pick up the pawn. Okay, let's say here. We have to be careful. This is the only thing we have to be careful about. Black sacrificing for the pawn and going for this one.
But even this, I'm going to put the knight to d3, and when you go king c4, I'll go b4. And if you put the king here,
Yeah,
it's still
yeah.
winning.
This is
Even
winning.
this is winning.
The point is that if you go here, like Fiona said, okay, white to move. So let's play here.
Oh, and John Ludwig Hammer is
This
in
is
the
a good
chat.
opportunity to move, to use the rule that you can use. You can move a pawn 2 squares at the opening.
Sorry, I missed it. John Ludwig Hammer raided with a party of 200, so welcome to
Ooh,
all of you, and
nice.
welcome to John Ludwig, spamming the Alexandra emoji.
And another very important motif is king here. You just put the knight now on d1, behind the pawn. And now even if the pawn were more advanced and you can't use the 2-move rule here, it will still be winning. Because you can't take the knight and get the pawn. And now the king just comes and we win. So yeah, should be an easy win for Dagur, and an excellent win against a 25-50 guy.
Yeah.
So he might be on course for his third and final Iron Run. Can you check quickly which games has he played up to now? If you check his name, which opponents?
Where was he?
Sport 14. He lost against Fear. He drew against Van Forest. So I think he's has excellent chances of getting a norm now.
Absolutely.
Actually, fantastic chances.
Yeah.
So we're gonna book a win there.
Yeah, he
Excellent
has
win.
taken on h3.
Yeah, this just looks like a very easy.
Knight f3 has been played and king f5.
Yeah.
So
It's so easy that we're
going
predicting all the moves. So it's,
and black took on h2. h4 will be played. Oh, maybe there's even. But I suspect he'll probably.
yeah,
play
h4 is the logical move. Logical. So yeah, let's
and this
just,
one will. Okay, since John Ludwig just joined us, shall we have a look at Alexandra first and then the remaining few games?
Okay. Yeah,
so we're
because
going to go back to board 23.
somebody's saying that she actually blundered 24,
24, sorry.
24. Yeah. So both tests with the black pieces, we had the time control position after 94 when Kanarek played b6. And why on earth did she go king c5 and not king c6?
Yeah, and that is the blunder indeed. Very strange.
Is there some problem with king
mistake.
c6?
No. I mean, still she would have to fight for a draw, but king c6 was.
You just win the pawn. I mean, okay. Are we worried about the move like bishop f3?
Yeah, that's what someone is saying in the chat just now, that she was probably worried about bishop f3.
And the point, of course, is that.
And she was thinking about king c6 for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It was the first move after the time control.
So the problem is that this pawn endgame is probably lost because of the outside
Well,
pass
actually, Chessosize is just saying that Hammer was saying that this pawn ending is a draw.
pawn. Okay. You know, yeah, the first impression would be that the outside pass pawn should decide, but maybe they're too close apart for it to be an issue. Let's see something like this, here, here. I don't know. This of course would require precise calculation, but my feeling is still that White should be winning. But okay.
I suppose
But
John Ludwig has done the
If
calculation,
that's what John
so we'll
Ludwig
take
says,
his
we'll
word
have to
for
trust
it.
that. Yeah.
But yeah, in the game after King C5, unfortunately now White gets in B7,
Yeah,
and it's
that's
not the same at all. The knight has
Knight
to drop back
C6.
to C6, and King D2 is on the board, and King D4.
So she wants to defend the pawn from here, yeah.
And White has just played B4, which seems like...
Yeah, of course you can't take it because of you have to protect the queening square. So you have to, well, be very passive.
Okay, so what happens after King C4?
Maybe just bishop F3. And yeah, you kind of don't have a choice. If you don't take, I'll push B5, so you have to take eventually, and then...
Yeah.
the
She
knight
has
must go
played
here,
a knight C8 after B4.
Okay. I don't think this
But once
changes
again, now
much. Maybe
black
this
is just too
bishop
passive.
B3, maybe even here, bishop B3. And the king, approaches. So yeah, would be interesting to see if King C6 would indeed have been a draw. But it looks like now that should just be lost, this endgame for Alexandra, which like the chat is saying, which is a shame because she defended quite well and would have fully earned the draw, which would have been nice.
And meanwhile, Dago Ragnarsson has won his game against Mathieu Cornat. They ended up in one of the positions we had looked at with the pass B-pawn. So kudos to him, fantastic result, and as Ingvar pointed out, well on course for an IM norm.
Yes.
By the way, I'm once again astounded at the amount of decisive results I'm struggling to get over myself. Okay, so let's continue our closing tour. Let's go to board 18, Julius Chitka against Johan Hjertarsson.
Shout out to Arman, local hero. Johan is on board
18.
18 you said, against Julius Chitka. And looks like Julius is doing a good job, right? That's a very nice knight on D4.
Shall we bring the
I should maybe let people see what I'm talking about. That's an excellent idea in general. So this is the current position. Chitka just played King F4, and at first glance it looks like he has a more compact structure, better minor piece. And Johan will have to use most, if not all, of his experience to pull out the draw here, I think. Still, you have to find a way. I mean, okay, he's trying to win the E4 pawn, the B pawn can be weak, the A pawn.
Yeah, a lot of suffering is ahead here for Johan.
Johan should suffer, and perhaps,
it will go on for a long time. Both players still have 15 minutes on the clock, so we'll move on from this one, but very good winning chances for Chitka, which would be another big upset. So we're now going to go to board 20. Let's see how the next Frenchie is getting on. It's Quentin Loiseau. Oh, by the way, on board 21, Casa Corley decided the Danish clash in his favor against Jakobsen. So let's see how Quentin Loiseau is getting on against Henk-Jan Visser.
Is the American bar going to cost the whole French team?
We'll find out.
A3 was the last move by Henk-Jan Visser. So White has 4 against 2 on the king side, but Black has 2, well, I want to say connected passers, but they're not really working together, but they are pretty far advanced, at least the A pawn. So we need to play either King B3 or Knight to B4. I'm not sure which one. well, knight b4, knight e3 maybe, so probably king b3. And well, okay, now my next move will probably be attacking this pawn, so black would have to be careful here. The rule of thumb, of course, is that if the pawn ending is 1, then the knight ending is 1. So on that logic, black should be doing well, but I'm not so sure. It's really hard to assess. I must admit, I just have no clue what's going on here.
Neither. Anyone in the chat have any suggestions for how to evaluate this position? I'm not even sure which I would take if I take
No,
white.
I'm starting to think I would take white, just because I'm
it's
threatening.
difficult to push the pawns. Yeah.
And I'm threatening to win this pawn, and if you bring your king, I can play g4 and block your king, at least for the moment. And yeah, black needs some moves to attack something, and you can't move the knight because you take the pawn, so... Okay, I'm starting to like white, actually.
You've convinced me.
Yeah.
You've convinced me. So it looks like even if
Let's
white
say
doesn't win,
slight
he will
chances for white.
not lose. So the French will not have a...
He will,
They will get some consolation points. And that leaves us with only 2 games to look at. Board 28 and 29, the 2 friends, Gudmundur Kjartansson and his friend Alisher Suleimanov.
No, it's Guilu. Yeah. Guilu is playing Gumi.
Yeah, but the 2 friends are still playing. So we'll check those 2 out first. Board 28, Gudmundur with the black pieces against Gular Torsteinsdottir.
Yeah, I saw they were actually looking at this in the Icelandic commentary room. And what's going on here? Rook takes e4. Probably Gulla will take.
Oh, and a
with
big
no.
shout out in the chat. Anton Squared Me is here, my
really?
good friend and editor. Once again, if you don't follow Anton Squared Me on Twitter, what are you doing with your lives? And it's good to see him here in the chat, and also Kitty his big shout out. Saying I'm doing serious commentary. I think a lot of the people who don't know that my stream page is being used tune in and like, what is Fiona doing? Being all serious.
Yeah.
Karpov is saying Fiona is always serious. Absolutely. So what about this position?
I don't know. Okay, I mean, white has to capture an e4.
White
how to
took
capture?
on e4. Rook takes e4.
Rook takes, queen takes. Then she must have been worried about this, I guess. When d5 drops, she'll be down a pawn, so she preferred to take with a rook.
But I guess we're gonna take
black
on
will
d5
probably
anyway.
regain his pawn on d5.
Oh, Kitty Kissy gifted a sub to Anton Squared Me. Thank you for that.
I mean, probably just bishop takes and go for the endgame.
Yeah.
And you're up. You're up a pawn and you have some chances to push, but white will try to blockade on the dark squares. But I have a feeling that this endgame should be winning for black. And this looks fairly forced, so... I'm
supposed to have dinner with Gumi tonight, but I think Gumi is probably going to be playing once again one of the last games of the round. Thankfully it was an early start, so I will wait for him.
He will need an hour, I think, at least to win this, but he should win.
Absolutely. So let's check in with his friend Suleimanov, Alisher, all the way from Kazakhstan. He's playing against Nikola Mayerhuber from Austria.
And he's just a piece up. Well, still there do exist some positions where it's actually hard to win with the extra piece.
But this shouldn't be one of them.
But this should not be one of them, and I think we can fairly easily manage to just play at something. Okay, white played this. Let's just temporize, and I think we should be at some stage be able to play.
Also, probably just attack, the f7.
Yeah. I'm just setting up so it's not checking, and just bishop c4. And then we'll push g5, takes, and if I'm not mistaken, this should be winning.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need to spend any more time here.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is Nicola Mayruper. She's an Austrian female player.
Ingvar.
She was in the quiz.
She
yesterday.
was, yeah. Actually, I didn't know. Yeah, she was in the back. Yeah, that's right. I cannot believe. Okay, so we're done with looking at the games, but we'll have a quick run through the results. Out of the 25 live games which have concluded, only 2 have ended in draws.
And I don't think. Maybe Tanya.
Maybe Tanya, but.
Tanya, maybe Johan, but unlikely.
Yeah.
And maybe Quentin, but they can all end decisively, so maybe only 2 out of what, 30?
Which is
31. It's crazy.
Unbelievable. One of the draws was on the top board between 2 of the leaders, Hovhannisyan and Firouzja, which means that the way was free for Konstantin Lupulescu, who after beating Sergei Mostesyan is now our sole leader. 6 rounds in, 3 rounds to go, all to play for. And the pursuer group on 5 points consists of Hovhannisyan and Firouzja, who drew their games, and then Gawain Jones and Eggy, the 2 Englishmen, and that is all.
Okay.
So only 4 players in pursuit. Big shout out once again to David Eggleston, who played a very nice game to beat Aryan Tari. And the other result I haven't mentioned from the pursuer group was a draw in the all-Dutch clash between Erwin Lamy and Jordan van Verwees. And that, I believe, brings us to the end of today's show.
Spoiler alert, 2 kids against Tanya. I had a look at the engine. It says 0.00 on almost every move, so maybe we'll have one
Another
extra draw, unfortunately.
We'll tell them off. So yeah, that's all from us here for today. Tomorrow we'll be back at the same time as today. We'll start the show at 3 p.m. GMT. The games will start at 1 p.m. though, so you can already follow those, starting from 1 p.m. GMT. Once again, shout out to everyone who was in the chat, who watched us, who interacted with us. It's been a really great day. Crafty Raf is saying only 6 draws out of the 85 games that are finished at the moment.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's all from us for today. Thank you very much for watching. And we'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.